joining us for yet another episode of Talk the Talk with me, Desh Palay Bechin. Viewers, today we have the privilege to welcome Warren Olsen in studio with us. He is the Managing Director at Mahindra East Rand Mall, and from what I have come to hear, he is quite an inspiring man. Okay, so Warren Olsen, I actually knew him from way back when I was with my ex-company, and he supported me in a lot that I have done within my career. Warren Olsen has a passion like no other. He absolutely adores his job, and because of that passion, he is one magnificent leader. He always seems to be carrying a positive attitude with him no matter where he goes, and this truly enables him to spread the positive mood within his workspace. Warren Olsen makes it his goal to focus on improvement and growth every day, and he somehow manages it in astounding fashion. He is always willing to embrace new ideas and conform to the arising challenges of each day. I find the amount of drive that Warren has extremely fascinating. He has the determination to work harder than most and makes sure that he gets the job done. He truly prides himself on seeing the end result and drives himself with purpose. Warren aligns himself with excellence. Before I even introduce Warren, I just want to say again that he has been a catalyst for change in terms of women empowerment in the motoring space. He has many women, female leaders in his dealership, and he has empowered myself as well in my journey, as I mentioned earlier on. So viewers, I do feel it is about time to meet this incredible man. Please help me in welcoming Warren Olsen. And as always, this interview is proudly brought to you by Saluti Solutions. Hi, Warren.
Hello, Desh. How you doing?
Good. Thank you so. I know this is not your norm. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us.
Desh, it's an absolute pleasure to be here today, and thank you very much for the invite. And firstly, what a privilege to be sitting next to you, to listening to your story for the last couple of minutes and just catching up.
Yes.
It was an absolutely fascinating tale,
Yes.
and I look forward to the next couple of minutes with you. I really do.
Thank you so much, Warren. As I said earlier on, all the Mahindras that I have driven was from Warren's dealership. So I was not accustomed to the brand until Warren very passionately personally took me through the brand. This is about 5 years ago. So yeah, it's been a long time, and I think building these important relationships with people brings you to this moment. So thank you again. But now I want to talk about Warren. Okay, let's talk about your journey in motoring South Africa. Where did it begin?
Sure, Desh, it's actually quite a long journey, you know. I mean, it started 25 years plus, and it's quite cliched. I met an amazing guy by the name of Richard Moss at Huddle Park on a golf course, and played golf with him for about 6 or 7 months, and he was sales manager at Cargo Motors in Alberton, which was a Mercedes-Benz dealership at the time. And you know what, one thing led to another, and one day he said, you know what, Warren, stop selling chocolate bars, because I was working for a chocolate confectionery company at the time, and he said, come and sell something amazing, such as cars, such as Mercedes-Benzes and things of that nature. And I said to him, I would definitely do it. So it's been 25 plus years that I've been in the motor industry now, and I've had my ups, I've had my downs. And I think the downs have added character, and the ups have been absolutely amazing. But I've really enjoyed the road that I've traveled.
Oh, and Warren, let's talk a little about your dealership, but also, I remember when I came to you the first time, I said to you, listen, I've driven like every brand. I was a bit skeptical about Mahindra, and you said, Desh, you Indian. How can you? But yeah, I discovered some awesome, the awesome range through you. So let's talk a little bit about your dealership. Very, very visible on the corner. When you enter Boksburg, I'm always thinking when I go to Boksburg about Warren Olsen sitting there. Very lovely dealership. Let's talk about a bit about that and also about Mahindra.
Okay, well, so my story with Mahindra actually goes back to when I joined Mahindra South Africa. And I was heading up their marketing and sales. and that was probably close to 10 years ago. And I got to know, firstly, what Mahindra was all about from a company perspective, a corporate perspective, an international perspective. I got to know the people, from Honoured Mahindra all the way down to the management teams in South Africa. And I got to see their product plans for the next 5-10 years in that respect. And I really come to really love the brand, love the people, love the country, India. I mean, I've spent many a time there, getting to know it in that respect. And for that reason, I was, when the opportunity came for me to actually step out of corporate space and move into my own business, I looked at a couple of different business opportunities, and I really thought, for me to put my family at risk, to put myself at risk, and to invest all my money, best I do it firstly in an industry that I know, and secondly in a brand that I see has tremendous opportunity, and thirdly I could see that the business that I was looking to purchase, which was Mahindra East Rand or Mahindra Boksburg, had the potential to become a really great dealership. And I'm very pleased to say that after close to 3.5 years, 4 years, we are the number one Mahindra dealership in South Africa.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
We outsell all the other Mahindra dealers, both on vehicle sales, on parts sales, and on workshop throughput. So, it's been a tough 3 years.
Wow.
But I can tell you, every single day is a blessing, and every single month is humbling. And we've been able to achieve some greatness over the last 3 years.
And this is an independent dealership.
Independent dealership.
Wow. To have achieved that. I'm going to take the credit for this. It's only my people that can do that, okay? But I didn't know that. I've known you for so long, and I actually didn't know that this is what you produce at your dealership. When we're talking about you and the unique way of which you approach business. Listen, Warren, it's not just about selling cars, but you support 45 families, basically. You've got 45 staff, right?
I do.
Yes, and that's amazing. Congratulations, and thank you for giving back to the industry. But tell me about this. Tell me about your unique way in which you approach business and how so it has grown.
Well, so you must understand that when I bought, theoretically, I bought Mahindra Boksburg, it was a business that was completely bankrupt, that had lost close to 8 million in the previous 5 years.
Gosh.
So firstly, I was buying a business that had actually failed, and failed dismally in that respect. And so when I arrived on the 1st of August, way back in 2017, which is the first day that we actually took ownership of the business, we realized that there was a core of good people in this business.
Yes.
And there were a core of not so good people. So we needed to first make sure that we restructure the business, both from a people perspective as well as from a system perspective and a process perspective. And firstly, I'd spent 20 odd years in corporate, so I had picked up a lot of skills along those years, and I was able to apply that knowledge within my own business, which was firstly an amazing feeling, but a scary one as well. Very scary. So the first 6 months we refer to them as my grey years, because I think I was extremely ash-faced. I didn't know whether or not I was going to survive. I was not sleeping too well and things of that nature. But we got through those first 6 months.
Right.
And
Warren, I met you in that first 6 months.
you probably,
Yes.
I was extremely grey.
It was in 2017. Yes, that's when I met you. Wow, I didn't even know that you had just started.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the thing is, I always say that it takes 1,000 days to build a business. And I can tell you, we probably built it in half that time. But the truth of the matter is you really only see the real benefits after 1,000 days, where you are able to just sit back and be able to realize that you've got a seriously good team of really good individuals, and and that's what a business is made up of. And those individuals form into exceptionally good teams, and those teams are the backbone of every business in that respect. And we've been fortunate enough to open our second dealership in Edenvale.
Okay.
And
I didn't even know that.
we did that from the 1st of November last year.
Okay.
And that's also been a phenomenal experience and a wonderful experience in that respect. And now we are planning our third Mahindra dealership.
Oh gosh.
And I hope that in the next 6 to 9 months, that dealership will be up and running
And where would that one be?
contributing. Well, you know, we are Mahindra East Rand Group.
Okay.
So I strongly believe it will be in the East Rand.
Come to Kempton Park, okay.
And I'm not at this point in time looking to change the name of our business.
Okay. Wow, Warren, congratulations. I
Thank
don't
you.
even know what to say. Like, well done. Really, really
Thank you.
congratulations.
Appreciate it. But it really is not just me. It really is the team and the people and all the support that we've had over the last 3.5 years.
And all the women working for your dealership. They are the
Of course,
backbone.
they are an extremely important part.
Right.
You know, I spoke to you about my F&I team, which we've built up over the last couple of years, contributes over 30% of my net profit on a monthly basis. And I have an extremely strong finance and insurance team that's led by women. Wow. And if it wasn't for them, I can tell you we would not be in the position that we are in at this point in time.
Yes. Well, and then also you using the Sariti platform, hey? Let's talk about Sariti.
Well, you know, when I bought the business, I wasn't with Sariti, but I had close associations with Roy and his team, and for that reason, it was a couple of months later that I decided to switch, or maybe a little bit longer than that, but I did decide to switch, and I can tell you ever since I switched, my F&I team has enabled us to probably double our profitability out of F&I business due to the systems that we use and due to the products that are listed and everything that goes with it. So I'm also hugely indebted to Roy and his team at Sariti.
Well, I'm indebted to them too. So thank you, Sariti, and thank you for supporting Sariti. So you see, it comes full circle.
It does.
I want to ask you, how do you define success?
Success. Success is such a, I mean, it's wonderful when you experience it, but what people don't realize is that there is, 95% of success is not visible. It's the hard graft. It's the studying. It's putting in the hours, it's understanding what you need to do, it's putting in the grind, and the grind can take it can take days, it can take months, it can take years to get to a point where you can actually experience a little bit of success. And then it's to make sure that you don't get carried away with it, that you realize that the next morning you've got to wake up and you've got to start from scratch again. And you've got to revolutionize, what you've just done, in order to achieve some sort of success in that respect. So it's a constant rebirth, and that, I think, is what inspires me to do what I do on a daily basis.
Wow. Warren, who's been an inspiration to you?
Sure. I mean, firstly, my family. I mean, I wouldn't do what I do if it wasn't for the fact that I had, firstly, an amazing mother who brought me up. I mean, I lost my dad when I was very, very young. So it was my mother who was my inspiration. And she was the one that guided me through school. And she was the one that sat with me for hours, teaching me how to read and how to write and things of that nature, which wasn't easy. But I can tell you, if it wasn't for her putting in the efforts, I would never have been able to finish school, and I would never have been able to go on and study hard and get myself a decent tertiary qualification in that respect. So I think the inspiration was definitely my mom. I mean, I've been very fortunate that I've met people along the way within my career or within my personal life who have been really good people. You know, with firstly the ability to interact with me, the ability to teach me, the ability to inspire me, and the ability to make sure that I'm on the right path. Okay, and then of course, you know, my wife and I have been together forever. Okay, and the truth is, my daughter's 15 now, and I must say it's been the most amazing 15 years of my life, because she is amazing.
Shout out to Emma also.
She is amazing. So you know, the reality is, you know, that's who I am, what I am, is because of them. Okay, and
all women.
And all women. So the truth, yeah, my life has been surrounded by women.
Aww.
And they've always brought a lot of goodness and a lot of success to me. And for that reason, I've got to be very appreciative.
Well, and as I said earlier on, I think you take very little credit for where you are right now and how far you've come. I think you have surrounded yourself with positive people. You've surrounded yourself with empowered people, and you know, they always say that surround yourself with like-minded people, and that's how you've grown. So I take my hats off to you for everything that you've achieved.
Thanks, Desh.
But I want to know, in that light, what mistakes you've made along the way. And the reason
Plenty, Desh. Plenty.
I'll tell you why, so you know how to angle this answer, okay? I'll tell you the reason I asked this question is because of, you know, for a man that have achieved so much, I believe that there might have been mistakes that you have made, and you could perhaps prevent someone else from making those mistakes or repeating that. And I always say that, you know, you don't need to always learn from your own mistakes. You can learn from someone else's. So the floor is yours.
Desh, I don't think we've got enough time to touch on all my mistakes in my life. But the truth of the matter is, I think you know, firstly, I'm a strong believer that you've got to have a really good education. Not that I had a good education, but if I had to give anybody advice, I would say study hard, okay? And try and do, you know, do amazing things while learning, because learning is the fundamental to us all at the end of the day. Without knowledge, there's very little we can achieve in this world in that case. So don't be like me, okay? Make sure that you apply yourself and make sure that you get extremely good grades, and whether or not that's at school or at varsity, because that fundamentally gives you the platform to be able to succeed in life. It opens so many doors. So where it took me almost 30, you know, it took me until I was in my early 30s before I actually managed to get my degrees behind my name. And I think if I could have done it when I was 25 or 26. And I can tell you now, I probably should have done it. You know what I mean? So I think that's the first thing. From a business perspective, you know, I spend so much time in corporate, and unfortunately corporate has got so many different ladders to it and so many different ceilings. And even though, you know, yes, being a man, therefore I think I've climbed through a lot of the hoops maybe faster and quicker and maybe a little bit easier than a lot of our women who have been in the corporate environment. The truth is, there are a lot of obstacles. And within that corporate environment, if you are determined, and if you are focused, and if you are on point most of the time, you can rub people up the wrong way. And I can tell you, in my 25 years, I've rubbed too many people up the wrong way. And for that reason, I've often bumped my head, okay, both within a corporate environment and within a corporate environment. So, you know, my advice is to firstly ground yourself, and secondly to be passionate about what you do and constantly be positive, because all of those things will overcome any major hiccup that you experience in your life, and you'll be able to look ahead and not look behind. And I think that's what I've been able to do over the last 25 years of my life, is with every negative situation that I find myself in, I always saw the positivity. And for that reason, I just always looked forward.
Wow. Sure, I forgot what my next question is because I am so, and I think that's what really got me attracted to the dealership 5 years ago. It's I can learn so much from you. We all can, but the one thing that stands out at your dealership is the environment, the ambience in your dealership, and your staff. I've spoken to so many of them in the past, by the way, but you know this already. They feel so comfortable with coming to work. The loyalty is unquestionable. Why so, Warren?
Well, firstly, I think it's you do. I think when you build relationships with the staff, you've got to build deep ones. And you've got to respect everybody for who they are. You've got to respect their backgrounds. You've got to respect their families. You've got to make sure that you get to know them at a deep level in that respect. So, to me, it's about starting off every single day. I greet every single employee I have. Wow. And I make sure that I don't just, see them and walk past them. I make sure I stop, I talk to every single one of them. I find out how it's going with themselves, how it's going with their families, how it's going with their kids. And the reality is I really do care about them, you know what I mean? And whenever there is a problem or an issue, I try and assist and I try and look after them because like I said to you previously, it's, I don't employ 45 people. We look after 45 families on a daily, weekly, monthly basis in that respect. So every single one of my staff are extremely important to me. Wow. And I would like to be important to them.
Yes,
it's as simple as that.
You are.
So, so I think the reality is we run a very different environment. I'm also, the way I run my business, I think is very different to anybody else who runs a dealership or a business in this country. Is that, and I think that plays a big part of it as well.
Wow.
You know?
Warren, as I mentioned earlier on, you are a catalyst for change, a champion for women empowerment. You've empowered me personally, and you've played a very integral role in my life. I know that there's many men in the industry that have played an important role in me reaching for my dream and staying inspired and feeling motivated all the time. But why is it that you are so passionate about women being empowered in the industry?
So Desh, I think it's firstly, women have played a very big part in my life.
Yes.
Okay, from my mother to my wife to my daughter in that respect. They're integral to who I am, what I am, and things of that nature. Yes. So, and you cannot just bottle that up and keep that. You've got to be able to live that on a day-to-day basis. So. It's so important to make sure that the women that I've worked with previously in my corporate career, it's always making sure that they're building their careers, you're building your careers in that respect. You all have to find that synergy, that ability to connect, that ability to drive the performance going together. So when you're in the trenches, it doesn't, it's so important that you relate and so important that you excel together in that respect. So from within my own business, women provide a very key aspect to my business. They firstly, they are different to us in the sense of how they look at things, how they do things. And I think without being able to blend all of that into a synergy that enables you to be the best, we wouldn't be able to do it without all of us. Yes. And without, the people that work for me in that respect and the women that work for me in that respect. And I think it comes down to just, we have to respect everybody for the uniqueness and the brilliance that they bring to our operations and our businesses in that respect. And if you have the ability to nurture that and to combine that, you have the ability to create something special.
Wow. Warren, I always say on this show that you all for women empowerment, yes, but I always say that it's about time that women or people should not be recognized by their body parts. And you are that. You have identified people that would be good for your business, and that's what you look at. And a lot of them are women. So. But I mean, that's exactly what you said in different words, though. That you've got to identify the capability, and that's the important thing. So thank you for not just thinking that men only can do the job, and we both. It's so important to know that, or to note that we both, as a man and a woman, bring equal to the table, and we just balance each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do you feel about, and you know that I first came to you back then with, working for an aggregator as a journalist, but I've started my Women Empowerment Initiatives, which is the Motoring Women of the Year Awards, recognizing women in the motoring industry. How do you feel about that?
Desh, I think celebrating success is so important in this country.
Yes.
I think it's, we all know the struggles of women in this country, and for that reason, I think celebrating them, by themselves is a uniqueness, but also a very powerful tool in order for uplifting in terms of both women and communities and businesses and of course South Africa as a country in that respect. So, to me, celebration of success is one of the most important things that we can do.
Yes.
As people. And firstly, I must just compliment you on what you're doing. I think it's amazing, and I look forward to seeing who the winners are.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
this year. It's going to be an intensely fought battle.
440 women.
How phenomenal is that?
Yeah,
okay,
it's amazing.
And for that reason, it just strengthens who we are, what we are. It strengthens our businesses, it strengthens our country, and for that reason, it's all good. It's all good.
Thank you. I mean, you biased, you in my corner already, so I don't know what credibility that gives me. Thank you for that.
It's a pleasure.
Who's Warren? Who is Warren Olsen at home, except horse riding with Emma and going for hockey with Emma? Who's Warren?
So, business is consuming. You must realize that. So the reality is, I'm actually home to me has been my stable place, if that makes sense. In the last 25 years, I've worked for numerous organizations.
Yes.
Okay, but in the last 25 years, I've only stayed in 3 homes. Okay, so to me, home is really the place that I go to find my inner strength. It's the place that I go to rest. It's the place that I go to read. It's the place that I go to have really good wine, good food, and things of that nature. But it's the place where I can regenerate.
Yes.
Because life is busy. So it's a place that we as a family can be one.
Yes.
And for that reason, it is the most sacred of all places in that respect. Wow. So home, firstly, is extremely important to me. Okay, and I think that's what home is about to me, and that's why I don't move often. Yes. 3 times in 25 years is not many times.
Yes, absolutely.
And to me, it's key.
Yeah. Wow. So home is where the heart is, and home is where Emma is.
And home is where Lizelle is, my wife. So home is where all the dogs are, and the cats, and the fish, and everybody else that shares our world with us.
Warren, I'm going to say it again. I don't often praise people so often on this show, because it sounds like I'm just, I don't know. I'm just, it's so much, it's too much, but I can't help myself with you, because you have really been instrumental in my life, and I look up to you. I really do, and it's really phenomenal. And it's so important to surround yourself, as I said, with like-minded people, and to have someone to look up to. I'm not a businesswoman by far. I don't even know how to run a business, but you know what? I can definitely learn from you. Some lessons.
I'm sure you know a lot.
Warren, thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Desh. Really. Appreciate the time and appreciate being here with you. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming, and I know it's a busy time. Things are hectic back at the dealership, so I really appreciate you coming. Thank
Awesome.
you so much. And thank you, viewers. Thank you so much for following us on all our platforms. Our non-profit companies, the Motoring Woman of the Year Awards, powered by MFC, a division of Nedbank, and the Talk the Talk shows, powered by Sariti Solutions, are aimed at providing a platform where we can share our experiences as well as educate the future generations to explore the endless and exciting career opportunities in motoring South Africa. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Women Talk, and please don't forget that we have thousands of vehicles on sale to choose from countrywide on our vehicle listing portal at www.womentalk.co.za. And remember, viewers, we only advertise for trustworthy and reputable bank accredited dealerships. Ladies, I have learned that truly successful people in life focus on bettering the lives of those that they come into contact with. They live by a rule: pay it forward. I have lived by this rule my entire life, and it has fulfilled me in ways that I cannot even explain. Paying forward gives you a sense of achievement and pride that you cannot find anywhere else, and that goes to tell why empowering women is so important to me and people like Warren. Warren is a conscious contributor to empowering people, and he takes great pleasure in knowing that he makes a difference not only for his own life but for the lives of so many other people, 45 other people and their families. So I hope you ladies learn the value of building each other up, because standing together paves a path for our voices to be heard amongst thousands of people. I want you to believe that what you have to say is worth being heard, because I truly believe it is, and I trust in the power each and every one of you possess. Remember, ladies, the question should never be who's going to let me. It should always be who's going to stop me.